A property is treated in the books of accounts as a property, plant and equipment under Ind AS 16 or IAS 16, an inventory under Ind AS 2 or IAS 2, or as an investment property under Ind AS 40 or IAS 40. Hello everyone, welcome to my channel Raise Your Acumen. This is Harshal Patil. I am a chartered accountant, and in this video we shall understand the treatment of a property under Ind AS 40 or IAS 40, which is on investment properties. So before we begin, do subscribe to my channel and hit the bell icon to get notified about such short and informative content which will up your acumen. Alright then, before diving into the recognition and measurement criteria given in the standard, let us first understand the difference between an investment property and an owner-occupied property. Investment property and owner-occupied property means land or building, or part of the building, or both. However, an investment property is held to earn rentals and or capital appreciation, whereas an owner-occupied property is held to use in the production process or in the supply of goods or services or for administration purposes. Let us take a look at few examples of investment properties. The first one is where the land is held for long-term capital appreciation. Now this I had mentioned earlier that any land, if held for long-term capital appreciation purposes rather than short-term sale in the ordinary course of business, would be considered as an investment property. The second example is land held by entity but its use is not determined yet. So in such a case where the entity has not determined that it will use this land as owner-occupied property or for short-term sale in the ordinary course of business, then such land will be regarded as held for capital appreciation, thus considered as investment property. Moving on to the next example, a building which is owned by an entity and also leased out is considered as an investment property. Even if the building is vacant and if it is leased out, then it is also considered as an investment property. Also, a property that is under construction or is being developed for future use as an investment property will be considered as an investment property. Now that we have discussed the examples of investment property, let us take a look at the cases which are not considered as investment property and hence are outside the scope of the standard. The first one is property held for sale in the ordinary course of business. Now such property is covered under Ind AS 2 or IAS 2 on inventories. The second case is where the property is owner-occupied property. This is covered under the standard on property, plant and equipment. Similarly, employee-occupied property is also not considered as an investment property and kept outside the scope of the standard. Property when leased to another entity under finance lease is also not covered under this standard. Now let us look at different scenarios wherein a property would be treated differently based on its usage. Suppose a property is held for multiple purposes. Say for example, if it is held as an owner-occupied property and is also partially rented out. So in such a case, if we are able to sell off both parts separately, then we shall account for owner-occupied property under Ind AS 16 or IAS 16 and the rented property under Ind AS 40 or IAS 40. However, if we are unable to split the usage, then the property will be accounted under Ind AS 40 or IAS 40. Let us understand this using an example. Now say an entity owns a building having 5 floors. It uses 2 floors as its head office and rents out the remaining 3 floors. Now as per law, the company is able to sell off the legal title of the rented out floors while retaining the legal title to other 2 floors. In such a scenario, the 3 rented out floors should be classified as investment property. Let's alter this example a bit. Now say an entity owns an office space in a building. 35% of the office space is used as an head office and the remaining 65% is leased out. Now the company is not able to sell the tenant space and also not able to enter into a finance lease related solely to it. In such a case, the company should not classify the property as investment property, as the 35% of the office space used by the company is significant. The classification based on significance is also true in case the company provides ancillary services to the occupants of the property it holds. Suppose an entity owns and manages a hotel, services provided to the guests are significant to the arrangement as a whole. Therefore, an owner-managed hotel is owner-occupied property rather than investment property. The last scenario that we are going to see is where the investment property is leased out to other group members, such as its parent company or another subsidiary. In such a case, in consolidated financials, the property won't be classified as investment property, as the property is owner occupied from the perspective of the group. But in case of individual financial statements of the entity, the property would be classified as an investment property if it meets the definition of investment property. In a way, we can say that the lessor treats the property as investment property in its individual financial statement. Now that we have understood the concept of investment property, let us dive into the recognition and measurement criteria given in the standard. Starting off with the recognition criteria, an owned investment property shall be recognized as an asset when it is probable that the future economic benefits that are associated with the investment property will flow to the entity, and the cost of the investment property can be measured reliably. So under this principle, the cost of day-to-day servicing of the investment property should not be capitalized or recognized as a part of investment property. But the cost of replacement parts may be recognized as a part of investment property only if the recognition criteria is met. Now let's move on to the measurement criteria. An owned investment property should be initially measured at cost. The cost structure includes purchase price and directly attributable costs such as legal fees, property taxes, and other transaction costs. The cost of investment property does not include startup costs unless they are necessary to bring the property to the condition necessary for it to be capable of operating in the manner intended by the management. The cost of investment property also does not include operating losses incurred before the investment property achieves the planned level of occupancy. It also does not include abnormal amounts of wasted materials, labors, or other resources incurred in constructing or developing the property. Now, what if the payment for an investment property is deferred? In such a case, the cost of investment property would be its cash price equivalent, and the difference between the total payments made and the cash price equivalent would be considered as an interest, which would be expensed out over the period of the credit. Now let's discuss the case where investment property is acquired through exchange of another asset. In such a case, its cost is measured at fair value unless the exchange transaction lacks commercial substance or the fair value of neither the asset received nor the asset given up is reliably measurable. Now, if the acquired asset is not measured at the fair value, that is when these two cases come true, then its cost is measured at the carrying amount of the asset given up. After initial recognition, an entity shall measure investment property in accordance with Ind AS 105 or IFRS 5 if it meets the criteria to be classified as held for sale, or in accordance with Ind AS 116 or IFRS 16 if it is held by the lessee as a right of use asset and in accordance with Ind AS 16 or IAS 16, which prescribes the cost model. Now IAS 40 also prescribes fair value model as a measurement criteria for measuring the investment properties. Under this fair value model, a gain or loss arising from a change in the fair value of investment property shall be recognized in the profit or loss for the period in which it arises. Please note that this is not the same as revaluation model given under IAS 16, wherein you transfer gains in OCI and losses in P&L on first time revaluation, and depending on this, the treatment under subsequent revaluation changes. Now you will find a video on property, plant and equipment on this channel. Please do watch it for better understanding of revaluation model given under the PPE standard. Now coming back to the standard, Ind AS 40 does not prescribe fair value model as a measurement criteria, which IAS 40 does. Ind AS 40 suggests for cost model, which is basically cost of investment property minus accumulated depreciation and accumulated impairment losses. However, it requires a fair value disclosure. Now let us see how transfers are treated under this standard. Now an entity shall transfer a property to or from investment property when and only when there is a change in use. Now a change in use occurs when the property meets or ceases to meet the definition of investment property and there is evidence of the change in use. An example of this would be when an entity starts treating its investment property as owner-occupied property. Now this will be considered as a change in use. Do note that transfers between investment property, owner-occupied property and inventories do not change the carrying amount of the property transferred, and they do not change the cost of that property for measurement and disclosure purposes. Moving on to the disposals part under this standard, an investment property should be derecognized, that is eliminated from the balance sheet, either on disposal or when the investment property is permanently withdrawn from use and no future economic benefits are expected from its disposal. Now the disposal of an investment property may be achieved by sale or by entering into a finance lease. Gains or losses arising from retirement or disposal of investment property should be determined as the difference between the net disposal proceeds and the carrying amount of the asset and shall be recognized in the profit and loss in the period of the retirement or disposal. So this was all about the standard on investment property. Hope you found this useful. Please do like, share and subscribe to my channel. Feel free to drop in your queries and suggestions in the comment box below. You can also connect with me on LinkedIn. Check out the description for the profile link, and thanks for watching.